What's up, people? So this is a bit of a different video, but in the last month, unless you're living under a rock, you would have been aware of this.
Flames brought down the spire and much of the roof at Notre Dame Cathedral yesterday.
But, like a whole lot of sad stories, there is always an exciting turn. And this exciting turn, well, at least I think it's an exciting turn. For other people, maybe this idea shocks them. But just recently, the French Prime Minister announced an international architectural competition to redesign the spire and roof of the Notre Dame. Now, this competition is not underway as of yet, but there have already been some really interesting and rather, I think, exciting proposals already put forward. So this video is going to be my personal top 3 redesigns for the Notre Dame. But first, a message from our sponsors. So this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Now Skillshare is an online learning platform with over 25,000 unique videos about how to learn pretty much anything. I personally have used Skillshare a lot in the past, and one thing I actually used it for is to teach myself character design a few years ago. I followed an amazing course by an ex-Disney animator to learn how to draw amazing characters. And there's tons of other courses just like that. And for the price of only $10 a month, which is about 2 coffees that you'd have to give up, you can get access to unlimited learning. I highly recommend it. And for my subscribers, if you click the link below, the first 500 subscribers will receive your first month free, absolutely free. But now, back to our video. My top 3 designs for Notre Dame. Ooh, oh. Now this is a more interesting one. I'm not sure if it would actually look great, but I think the concept behind it's kind of cool. So what they propose is a sort of a lightweight spire in place of the old spire, but on top of the spire they want to have a spotlight that's pointing directly up. There's a shot from what it would look like from the Eiffel Tower. I think it's definitely one of the more unique designs. I'm not sure if it would work, but it's cool. Now this one, I mean, I'm not going to spend time on this, but this is obviously a joke, I hope. Here's another design from actually a Russian designer, which is, he's gone totally modern. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of something from, like, you know, Old Republic Star Wars. That's what I'm thinking of when I see this. Mixed feelings about this one. So the first more serious design is by Studio NAB. They propose to turn the Notre Dame roof into a public greenhouse. It's quite nice. So I guess the most unique part of the design is that instead of a spire, they're going to have a tower of beehives. Now this is sort of reminiscent of, there actually are, or were, beehives kept in the spire of Notre Dame, so this is sort of an echo of that. I like the direction of this. I don't think they've captured it quite right, but I like the direction. It's interesting, putting trees on tops of buildings. Alright, here is design number 2. Now this one proposed by Vince Calibut. Oh, so sorry, my pronunciation of these names is terrible. But anyway, he proposes a roof that generates energy and food for Notre Dame Cathedral. So the idea, I think, is a similar one to turning the roof into a greenhouse, but the design is way more out there. And it's dramatic, it's striking. Maybe too striking, I'm not sure. I kind of like it. I have a feeling though it's going to be way too out there for the designs. I think a design that is actually going to win is going to be a design that uses, you know, new materials in unique ways, but at the same time still respects and holds to the tradition of the old architecture of Notre Dame. And so, my favourite redesign thus submitted is by the Mises Studio. They envision the Notre Dame to be a reconstructed spire of the old spire, but with a glass roof. Now this harkens back to what I was saying before. It's combining the traditional, keeping the old spire, but updating it with something modern, in this case a glass roof. And again, it comes back to that sort of greenhouse feeling by putting trees on top of buildings. Now, I have mixed thoughts about trees on top of buildings. I feel like, I think currently, I love the idea, I think it's really cool, but if we think like, you know, in 300 years time, when people look back, they'll be like, why in the 21st century did everyone want to put trees on top of buildings? Why was that a thing? I think it's beautifully well designed by keeping the old aesthetic, but mixing it tastefully with new technologies and new materials. For me, this is the winning design. I think this is probably a more sort of serious proposal thus far, and this is probably more in line with what I have a feeling will actually end up being built. But yeah, I think the glass could look really, really nice, and I think it adds to the actual aesthetic of the building without taking away from the traditional feel of it. In closing, I'm really excited to see how this all turns out. Now, there are two arguments for this. Number one, this is a really exciting opportunity to do a redesign of such a prominent building, to add to it tastefully. But the other argument is that we shouldn't redesign, but we should restore. We should restore it to its former glory. I honestly am for the redesign because I think it's so exciting. I would really love to see how this pans out, but I can get the other side as well. So this proposes a question: how would you redesign the Notre Dame building? Like, what would be your underlying idea? A lot of the ideas thus proposed have been sort of like eco-friendly, greenhouse, glass roofs, trees on top buildings. I'd love to see what you guys sort of think of this. And let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this kind of different kind of video at the moment. I thought it'd be kind of cool to experiment with sort of design news. I don't know. I just really enjoyed researching this. I found this a really interesting topic. Anyway, there'll be more videos coming soon, so please subscribe. And as always, enjoy your life, design hard, and don't die. I don't know why I keep saying that. But anyway, goodbye guys.